Rock art is one of the oldest material types of human expression and is found in many regions such as Africa, Europe, and Australia. Ancient individuals made various sorts of pictures, some straightforward and some complex. It very well may be anything but difficult to recognize rock art pictures of people, creatures, and natural objects such as the sun. Here's a short clip sharing a little history about rock art in Australia and how it still makes an impact today.
Long before the land grew roads and towns, long before the first Westerners arrived, long before humans here even had a word for art, the rock artists of Australia were drawing the Dreamtime. The Dreamtime for the Aboriginal people is their story of creation. That time so very long ago when rocks and animals and plants and people first sprang from the earth. And their beliefs about the Dreamtime are reflected in ancient paintings on rock. Untold numbers of them buried in the stone country of Kakadu National Park. Thompson Ulidgiru still paints in the time-honored way.
When I used to go stay with my grandfather, I used to tell him, "Please, tell me the stories of my ancestors."
The Aboriginal people of Australia are believed to have inhabited this land for at least 40,000, maybe 100,000 years. That would make them the oldest continuous human culture on the planet. And their ancient art is like a primitive history book and guide for living. Pictures tell a story here of how birds warn kangaroos of approaching hunters. And here, the tale of war. Aboriginal people of old believed the pictures imparted powers. Paint a harvest of fat fish, and chances are one would come your way. Seasons played a big role in their lives, so many of the images were painted each year at a specific time. The artists used red ochre and yellow ochre, made of soil and white clay. Certain clans were responsible for painting specific animals. If your group painted turtles, that's what you painted, not kangaroos. It was all seen as magic, all ceremonial, part of keeping the earth healthy. The last pure rock artists died in the 1960s, and modern Aboriginal artists paint on bark, paper, wood, making their work portable and valuable. But the oldest works of rock art here are very slowly losing the battle with time. Centuries of monsoon rains, insects and tiny reptiles crawling over them, brushing away the grains of color.
As you can see in the video, rock art is very important because it represents the earliest form of creativity of the human mind. The drawings and paintings symbolize unity and beliefs. This was a very important way for ancient individuals to express themselves, and it brings back a lot of history from the prehistoric time. Rock art was the gateway for many of the forms of art that we have today, such as dancing and music. There are many museums that shed light on the importance and history of rock art. Here's a clip from the British Museum located in London, England, sharing rock art from Africa.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Galvin. I'm the curator of the African Rock Art Image Project here at the British Museum. Rock art can be a lot of different things. It can be paintings, engravings, or other types of art that's expressed on a rock shelter, a cave wall, or even a boulder out in the middle of the desert. Rock art can be any size. It can be a really small, little, beautiful engraved figure that's about this big, or it can be a over 5-meter tall giraffe, such as in Niger. Rock art can depict anything. It's as diverse as the continent is itself. It can have human figures, it can have animals, it can have geometric figures, symbols that mean something to that culture. It even can serve as a historical record of what was going on around them. We have an amazing example of a European ship that was painted in southern Africa by an indigenous community there. It's hard to know why people created rock art. It might have been for their belief system, it might have been for their own culture, it might have just been boredom. But one thing that's really interesting is that people take these symbols and motifs and adapt them to their own culture. We know that rock art was practiced over tens of thousands of years in Africa. And when people came by and saw these images, sometimes they changed them, sometimes they co-opted the symbols and painted them elsewhere, and sometimes they just wanted to recreate it. I've always loved rock art because I love to look at it as an extension of a group's material culture. I'm an anthropologist, not an archaeologist, so I like to look at the symbols and meanings on rock art and match it with what the historical record that we know was going on there at a certain time. What you're able to do is really see how people express the world around them, and not only just the importance of what is depicted, but the skill and artistry of what is there is truly humbling. But what's also important is to record these digitally. Instead of just going out and collecting the pieces of rock, we're actually leaving them in situ. So they're still out there, but what we're able to do is take a photograph of it and create a record of what this rock art looks like now, not only to compare it against previous photographs we have, but to preserve it for future generations. I'm a curator with 25,000 objects, and they're all in my office, sitting on a hard drive. Check out our website for more information, exciting interactive maps, 3D models, and articles all about rock art, how it was made, who made it, and where it's from. And make sure to subscribe to the British Museum's channel. Thank you.
Overall, rock art continues to make a huge impact in today's society. I am thankful that I can continue to learn more about prehistoric art that started the creativity of the humankind. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.